Andrew.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, hi.
So, what do you think of Isaiah 53? Is that a prophecy or not?
But I think Isaiah 53 is more of a formula. It's talking about the martyrs slash messengers of God. Whenever God sends messengers slash prophets to the Jewish people, servants, they're going to be made to suffer. And Jewish tradition teaches us that Isaiah himself was unalived under these auspices, that he was being chased down and he hid in the trunk of a tree, and then they cut the tree in half to unalive him. Now, if you believe that Jesus is also a messenger or a prophet of some type, then it would include Jesus in this. Now, I don't believe in Jesus, but if you believe in Jesus, and Isaiah 53 is talking about the messengers of God, specifically Isaiah, then I would say that Isaiah 53 is talking more about Jesus than it is about Israel, because I don't agree with the Radak, with Tovia Singer, essentially, who made that position popular. He's only talking about Israel. I believe the servant, although the servant in Isaiah is mentioned, one, that it's Israel, and two, that it's Isaiah. Now, the truth is, Isaiah is part of Israel. And clearly, if God is talking about the servant Israel, he's only talking about the religious remnant of Israel. So I think it still points back to Isaiah. But the idea that the suffering servant, that it's Israel, is antithetical to the Torah. Why? Because according to the Torah, Israel doesn't suffer justly. I'm sure that there's times that leaders have overstepped their bounds and have overly oppressed the Jewish people. The way it's taught by Tovia Singer and people who believe deeply in Kabbalah is that whenever Jews suffer, it's an unjust suffering. And it's because Kabbalah teaches that Gentiles inherently hate us, inherently. And this sentiment even appears in the Talmud. It says Esau the son of Yaakov, that like Esau, which is some sort of character for Gentiles, inherently hates Jacob, i.e. the patriarch of the Jewish people. And this rippled into the Zohar. So this is why someone like Tovia Singer could say that Isaiah 53 is talking about the kings of the world in some way being remorseful for being too harsh on the Jewish people. But the Torah says that you will suffer collectively when you don't keep my mitzvot, right? It has nothing to do with being hated unjustly. And yes, again, I agree, being hated unjustly is a real thing, but it's quite rare in the big scheme of things. So this is why Isaiah 53 cannot be talking about Israel. Because when Israel suffers, it's because they brought it on themselves, collectively. I'm not saying one Jewish person here or a little community there, collectively. Just like we're being nowadays for still being in exile, right? We're still in exile, even though there's a secular state called Israel. So that's my response to Isaiah 53.
The Messiah, then when do you think your Messiah will come?
Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. We're extremely far away from it. Why? Because the understanding is that God is not going to bail us out.
Do you mean this generation?
No, we're far from it. We're far. Okay, the Messiah is not a celestial butler. God is not going to bail us out in a hole that we dug for ourselves. If God gave you the tools on Mount Sinai to make the world a better place, how is it at a time when we as a people are almost responsible for every grand atrocity that has ever happened, to this planet? Us, our people. From what happened in World War II, that if anyone knows why it happened, right? Should be very familiar with our involvement in communism and every disgusting ism out there, from feminism, liberalism, Q theory. I can't use a lot of these words because whatever. There's someone who we identify as part of our group in that mix. And typically in the upper echelons. This notion that we're all victims and that God is in some way going to come bail us out, this is not the way God functions. This is why I think it's antithetical for anyone to yell Mashiach now, which is the cry of Chabad. And I like Chabad, by the way. There's just some ideas I disagree with. That's one of them, by the way. Just yelling Mashiach now. What does that even mean? That God's going to send the Messiah to bail us out of a hole that we dug for ourselves? God gave us the tools to fight evil and make this world a better place. We haven't done anything like that. The people who have made this world a better place are Christians. let's be honest. They used our tools, by the way, because Jesus is special to Christians because he kept Torah. It's Torah that's special. That's the component. Even Maimonides found redeemable qualities in Islam and in Christianity. Not that we should convert to Islam or Christianity, but we have to be honest. They did what we should have done. Truly be a light to the nations. A mamlechet kohanim, a chiefly. Kohen doesn't necessarily mean priest. In its archaic tense, in Hebrew, lechachen means to be chiefly, to be a leader or an example to the world. And we haven't done that. And now suddenly God's going to bail us out? Not my God. It's completely antithetical. So if you're waiting for a Messiah from a Jewish perspective, he's not coming for a very long time because we're very far away from getting our act together.
So, no parallelism with the story, the Exodus story, and how they were bailed out by Moses.
So they weren't really bailed out because they didn't have the Torah. They didn't know any better. So how can they be bailed out? I mean, the curse of Genesis chapter 3 is that we would wander the earth till Exodus chapter 12 trying to figure things out on our own. That means when they were in Mitzrayim, they didn't even know about the God of Israel. However, because God made a promise to Abraham, not that God chose Abraham, it was ultimately Abraham who chose God, but because of Abraham's exceptional behavior and faith, God said, I'm going to give your people an opportunity